Welcome to Safety 6 series. Today I have Ron Mann, who is presently the lead safety representative for Enbridge Canadian Midstream Business Unit. Ron brings 19 years of operations gas processing experience, a mix of operations, leadership, and safety, 7 years of which were in the safety industry, which makes him a very unique oilfield safety expert. So, Ron, let's dip into your 2 decades of experience. I'm going to ask you 6 questions, and in 2 minutes or less, see how much takeaway you can give the listeners. Welcome, Ron.
Thanks.
So, question number 1. We'll start easy and we'll get harder and harder.
Okay.
What's one of the biggest pieces of advice you would give a beginner safety representative?
That's a good question. I would think that when it comes to advice for somebody just starting off in the field of health and safety is, we all hear the word on many occasions. I guess I would use the word diversify. I personally believe that diversification within this field is important. We become pigeonholed into 1 or 2 types of industries and never become really versed at any other. So I would say probably the best way to improve somebody's portfolio is to be diversified in many different industries, not just oil and gas, not just rail, not just pulp and paper, but many different industries. None of us will ever be proficient at all of it, and we'll become proficient at few aspects of different industries, but to be knowledgeable of all the industries is very important.
What's one of the fastest ways to diversify into some of the other industries? I'm thinking of online resources, Ron.
When it comes to diversification in other industries, some of the best ways are actually reading, getting online and reading through the internet, either publications, standards, guidelines, regulations. And at the same time, another way of doing it is through online courses, education, conferences. It's quite easy to become versatile in many different aspects of industry, but in order to do it, you have to actually do the reading and educate yourself or become employed in those areas. And if you become employed in those areas, then you will become quite versed at what's going on.
That leads me into question number 2. What books or videos or other sources of information would you recommend to the listeners, Ron?
When it comes to me, I'm probably a poor example of book reading because the truth of the matter is that I spend all day reading, whether it's publications, as I indicated to, guidelines, constantly on websites reading about regulations, and we all know that regulations can change, and we, as a good safety professional, we have to be up to speed on that. I get all my information through constant online reading, which I do on a daily basis. I'll also get it through my education, books that are recommended. There have been books that have been recommended to me on different subjects that I maybe want to become more versatile in, and I'll read those books. Case in point is industrial hygiene. I've had a few occasions where I need information on industrial hygiene, so I've had a few books actually recommended to me, so I'll grab those books and I'll read those books. The truth of the matter is when it comes to us being versatile in what we do, it's constant reading and it's constant education. The minute we stop educating ourselves, we won't be very effective at what we do.
How interesting. I've given so much information to various consultants that we've had on board that hasn't been used due to the format. For example, we've got audio series that seems to work really well, works great for me, but doesn't for others. Books, on the other hand, you've mentioned don't work well for you, but online resources do and training does. So would you agree that it's individual specific and what works for their learning styles?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I've met people that when it comes to reading, it's not who they are, but they're very versatile and very educated in what they do. Other individuals, they have photographic memories. They read books and they can sit there and basically tell you verbatim what we're supposed to be doing. No one way is the right way or the wrong way. It's just how we learn. And it doesn't matter how we get our information as long as we get the right information.
Question number 3. Every safety professional has one of those aha moments that just impacts them. Please give us your biggest aha moment, Ron.
This is a funny one. Probably my biggest aha moment would be when I first started in the health and safety field. I don't know if I had it in my mind that when I stepped into the position I would have the instant respect of the individuals, and it was very clear to me at an early stage that that was not the case. It didn't matter who I worked with, how long I worked with them. I was in a totally different field, totally different position, and realized that it took quite a while to earn the people's respect. And I did that through being involved, listening, helping out where I can, never being a safety cop. I was always the safety professional, always looking at other ways to do it and listening to what other people had to say. I found that at times we tended to be forgotten until needed, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the safety profession have experienced. So for me, the biggest thing is that when you're starting off in the safety profession is to not think just because you're a safety professional that you get instant respect, because that's not the case. Respect is earned, and we have to earn it.
I've seen so many entry-level safety people fall on their face because they either demand that level of respect or expect it. So very good point. Question number 4. What is the biggest safety-related mistake that you've witnessed in your career? And what's the most important lesson that came out of that mistake?
Probably the biggest safety-related mistake I've witnessed in my career, it might not go over well with some individuals, but it is the truth, is around leadership. In many cases, when I've witnessed something that hasn't been done right, it's been due to the lack of education of the leadership that are overseeing projects. It's very important for leadership to understand what is required of them and that they do the right thing. The good thing that's come out of it is that when I've been able to approach leadership, they've been very receptive to my information and my input so that we together as a team can correct the problem and make sure we set the workers up for success.
You're talking about departments versus processes, you taking on all the work versus management buying into the whole process here.
Yeah, that sums it up really well. Also too, Jeff, it also talks to a leader who come back to a safety specialist or a professional thinks they know everything. It's no different than a leader. You got a leader who thinks he knows everything, can't be taught, and they're teaching the people the wrong thing, then you're really trying to push a rope uphill.
Great answer.
Thanks.
Question number 5. Now we're getting harder. You have 2 decades of experience behind you, Ron. Now, let's say tomorrow Enbridge promotes you up the line to a more management position, and you have 90 days to groom an entry-level safety person into your job. How are you going to do this? How are you going to proceed?
That's a good question. Probably the first approach I would have is from the get-go, I'd have to be part of the process in deciding who that person was going to be. Mm-hmm. The reason I say that is that just because somebody has safety experience or has education doesn't make them a safety individual, in the sense that I'll take attitude before experience anytime. Not that experience doesn't count, but attitude is huge. Too many times I've seen an individual get hired into a safety position that at the interview process they look really good on paper and don't interview too bad, and then they get into the position and you find out that their attitude is just not there. They can't be told what to do. They're not willing to learn other ways of doing things. They become safety cops rather than safety advisors. Although advisor is a very loaded word, it's important that when I hear the word advisor on site, it's very common for people to be rolling their eyes in the back of their head. Although you'll hear us being called advisors, it's important for us to remember that we're also there to be part of the process, not to advise and walk away. I really believe that if I had the right individual in the position and had the right attitude, then in that 90 days I could easily take that individual and show them what needs to be done and how we do it and why we do it. As far as molding them into the position, if they have the right attitude, that's 50% of the battle right there.
Would you agree that if you only had 3 months, 90 days, that setting them up with some key individuals that they could go to, because obviously you can't plug 20 years of experience into this person in 90 days, but you can give them go-tos that would help set them up for success in the future? For
sure. Any person starting new into a position is always looking for those key individuals they can go to for answers and help. Anybody walking into a new environment, a new company, a new position is always looking for those go-to people. And part of the success in ensuring that somebody taking this position is successful is identifying those key people and building those relationships with those individuals. So yes, it plays a huge role in that process.
This is fascinating. Ron, what have you done? Because I know that you are very well connected in this industry and you have a lot of go-tos to get the job done. What have you done to build that network?
Well, obviously online social media is a huge thing. Through LinkedIn, I've been able to build a lot of that process. I've also been able to build those relationships with individuals I used to work with. I have individuals that I worked with within Spectra Energy that I'm still quite close to, that I turn to on a regular basis. I also build relationships with regulators. For some reason, there seems to be a misnomer out there that we don't want relationship with regulators, where I totally believe the opposite, where it's quite important to build that relationship with regulators. Take WorkSafe BC as an example. For me, when I call WorkSafe BC, I don't see it as them thinking I don't know what I'm doing. I think it's important because they know that I'm being transparent and I'm more than willing to talk to them. By doing that, that's how you build relationships, and having relationships with not just fellow colleagues, other people in the industry, but also with regulators goes a long way in building your experience and building your relationships and networking.
Powerful stuff. Last question, Ron, and hardest question. We at Safeguard believe one of the keys to a successful corporate safety program is to convince the employees to opt into the safety program for their own personal reasons. This is called intrinsic value. Please give the listeners an example from your experience where you've helped create intrinsic value in one of the safety programs you've been responsible for.
Probably the first thing I would start off with is changing the word opt into buy-in. When it comes to opting in, what that says to me is that we've created a program and we're expecting people to opt in like there's a choice. The truth of the matter is nobody likes to be told what to do, so the best way to actually create a program, a procedure, a process is to have buy-in. And the way we do that is by having those individuals involved from the ground floor. What I mean there is if you take the present position I'm in, when I first showed up on site, the process they already had well on their way with developing procedures and processes for the site, where the workers on the floor as well as management were joined together in actually developing the processes and procedures. So it wasn't an individual like me sitting in an office developing it and then taking it to a meeting and rolling it out to everybody. So this is what it is, here's what you do, and this is what we have to do. You're never going to get buy-in that way. In order for buy-in to happen, we have to have people involved. We have to have the workers involved. We have to have their say. We have to have them buying into the process. So when it comes time to rolling it out, it's not new to them and they've been part of the development. It's absolutely paramount that we have those individuals involved. Otherwise, it's an uphill battle right from the get-go.
Okay, give me a hands-on example, if you don't mind, Ron, of how you've done this. Something tangible that the listeners can walk away with.
I've been part of the process at site since day one with the development of the processes, and I've been involved in more than one process of development of procedures on site. In many cases, I've had the individuals come to me that have developed a process where we will all sit down as a group and we'll discuss that process. And through that process, we'll identify areas that need improvement or areas that may not meet regulations. And from there, as a team, we develop what needs to be developed and we take it forward as a group, whether it's the employees, myself, and management, and we take it forward to the groups to basically roll out to them.
Team effort. Great answer. I'm really impressed with the unique answers that have come out of this Safety 6 series. Mike Burzek talked about risk tolerance. Steve Unruh talked about relating to the workers, and now you have talked about the development of people and processes. I think the listeners can get a lot out of all three videos. Those of you that have not heard the other two videos, feel free to download them free off our website. Thank you for giving us your time, and hopefully you'll take advantage of a lot of the free resources that we have on our website. Have a good day.